So welcome, good afternoon. I'll just give a few moments to see who is going to join me. So going live here both on Facebook and Instagram. So just to let you know, today I'm just going to be talking about how perimenopause can affect our brain. So there's a lot going on at that time. So I'm just kind of coming on just to raise awareness, to just let people know, what is actually happening in our bodies and what can we actually do to help ourselves during that time. So welcome to the people joining now. Just see Big Tone there, hello. See Raquel there as well, so that's great. So look, we'll get started, okay? So like I said, we're just talking today about the phase or transition in a woman's life, perimenopause, and what is going on. So our hormones are fluctuating all over the place at this time, and this has an effect on our mental health. And if you're aware of that, there's a lot that you can do to help yourself. So as ovulation slows down and the ovaries begin to make less estrogen and progesterone, there's this kind of fluctuating with those hormones. There's sometimes the levels are rising, then they're depleting. And this just sends like a bit of a muddled message to the brain. And so when that happens, this is where you begin to have the symptoms of perimenopause. So the ones I'm going to list now, headaches, you can start to get headaches, irritability, mood swings, insomnia, depression and anxiety. And if you are somebody who maybe in the past has suffered from bouts of depression or anxiety, these can resurface at this time, and it can be quite bewildering, quite frightening if you're not really prepared or aware of what is taking place. You can be taken by surprise. So awareness really, I guess, is actually key to dealing with this. And if you look at just those things, and then you add in like everyday stress that people experience in their lives. I mean, we're living in a stressful world. If you're, you have a stressful job, or you're looking after elderly parents or family perhaps, these extra stresses are going to put your mental health in a state of vulnerability. So really, I guess, it's what can we do to look after ourselves? What can we do to kind of just really manage our stress? So this is a really good time for women to check in with your healthcare practitioner or maybe a doctor, and just really have a look at your health overall, the overall picture, and then decide from there, what is it I want to do to really look after myself from here. So, I see this as a really good opportunity. It might not sound like it, but I think it really is. It's a great opportunity to begin to prioritize yourself and your needs. And often women are very good at doing that for other people. We're, often putting other people first. Now, it isn't selfish for us to do this for ourselves at this time. In fact, I think it becomes critical for us to put ourselves first at this time, to see, what can we do to ultimately look after our health. So that is what I would be suggesting for people to do. The old lifestyle that we could get away with before doesn't fit. Say, for example, if you're somebody that likes to have a drink, you might not have had hangovers, but now suddenly you find that you can't recover from drinking. That's all to do with it. So it's all mixed in this same kind of package. So, I mean, if you've got any questions or anything that you would like to ask, do pop them in the comments, and hopefully I'll be able to help you. So we have 200 plus neurotransmitters in the brain, and these are chemical messengers that help, with different functions in the body. And again, these are being affected at this time. So as hormones deplete, or if hormones become out of sync, which they will do during perimenopause, the brain is receiving muddled messages. So, again, this is something to watch out for. So progesterone affects our GABA. So this is our gamma aminobutyric acid, which is what helps to keep us calm. And this is going to be affected at this time. So people can start to feel anxious. And progesterone as well has worked up until this time as a buffer. Okay, so it's protected our brain. That buffer isn't there anymore. So there is this risk, this real risk. And again, you can see how that's affecting our moods. And then things like melatonin, levels of that begin to decrease. Once that happens, that is going to affect our sleep. And we all know what happens if your sleep is affected for any period of time. That has its own health implications, implications for your heart. It also has implications for your cognitive impairment, for the way you think. You can't really make rational decisions when your sleep has been affected. So it's really important to know all of these things. I see a question there coming in about anxiety and low mood. So I'll definitely touch on that, the things that you can do to help with that. But also just to say, estrogen, as estrogen levels decrease, serotonin and dopamine are also going to be affected. So that's like again, this is to do with mood, and this is also to do with pleasure. So, we want to find pleasure in our lives. You might need to reconnect to pleasure in a new way. But it's all really, I guess, about balance and about looking at our lifestyles, seeing, what changes can we make to look after ourselves. And so, when you're feeling anxious, when your mood is low, it's good to really recognize what's at play here. That's important, and I will come on to that, and I will talk about that maybe just a little bit later, because I just want to keep on just talking about those hormones for a moment, because the other thing to be aware of is as our estrogen levels drop, our cortisol levels rise. And this is our stress hormone, okay, cortisol. So as cortisol rises, this has other implications for our health. So, when cortisol levels are too high, this starts to deplete our bone mass, okay, our muscle mass. So cortisol consumes bone. It brings inflammation into the body. So again, you can see how it's really important for us to find that balance and to be able to manage stress, that we don't let stress come to a tipping point. Even being on a diet and exercising causes stress in the body. So after every stressor that you experience, you should allow yourself to come to rest. And by doing that, you're allowing the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, to come back to normal. Because if we stay in these elevated states of stress, again, we've got health implications. Excess fatty tissue, your heart is at risk, diabetes, you become a risk for that, a risk for stroke. So it becomes really important to know about all these things and what we can do to help ourselves. This is where things like yoga comes into its own. Yoga, breath work, meditation, practicing mindfulness, getting out in nature, and just bringing more of what you want into your life becomes really important. When you're practicing yoga, practicing breath work, this is going to help to increase those GABA levels. So then it brings in this sense of calm. You can find this inner peace. You can let go of stress from the body. So really important things to do. Because the other thing that I just want to touch on as well is between the ages of 45 and 54, suicide rates peak for women. And when you look now at what's going on, like with depleting hormones, and you see how mental health can become affected, and if that happens to somebody and they're not aware what's going on, you would think, oh, am I going mad or something? Do you know? Because suddenly your anxiety comes from nowhere, you're irritable, you don't have that tolerance that you had before. If you're not aware of what's going on, that can take you by surprise. So, I think there could well be a correlation between those two things. And that's part of the reason why I would like to bring awareness to women's health and women's health issues. And just, how yoga can really, really help with that. So with anxiety, with low mood, breathing practices, mindfulness, meditation and yoga can be really good ways to just bring us into harmony in some way. So your attention will be in your body and in the present moment rather than living in your head, which, can help create anxiety as well. So these are the practices that I would use. And also things like journaling to bring clarity into what you would like for your life. So these would be the modalities that I would be using. But I would encourage everybody to ask themselves some questions at this time, like what can I bring, what can I get rid of so I make more space in my life for the things that are important to me? Do I need to be running around all the time being busy? Is it possible to carve out time for your self-care? And if you feel like you haven't got like lengthy chunks of time, can you make it into bite-sized pieces? So, maybe you can spare 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening and make that your time that you give over to yourself, to check in with you and to just, give your body a chance to rest. We're like a real society of doers and nobody wants to sit still. We're distracted by so many things. And when we put the phone down, and unplug from that and just really plug into ourselves, there are so many benefits from doing that. And especially at this time for women, it really does become quite critical to look after our health in that way. And what we eat as well, for phytoestrogenic foods, so to get those nice nutritious green leafy vegetables, to eat salmon, to eat nuts, flax seeds, garlic, peaches, even red wine, all of these things are good for estrogen levels. So that's just like another way in which you can look after yourself. And what I would suggest to do, I'm going to do with you now a breathing technique. So I find breathing practices can just help so much. And this is something that you can do. So say if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling moody, if you're feeling like you can't sleep, you can just come and do this very simple breathing technique and just see if it makes a difference. So I said, I'll encourage you to join in with me now. So maybe just closing off your eyes, if you're happy to close your eyes, and just breathe in through your nose for a count of 3. And then just gently exhale either out through the nose or your mouth for a count of 6. And as you do, just feel that you can let go of stress and tension. So maybe bring a little feeling of relaxation to your face, your neck and your shoulders. And again, just breathing in that way. Inhale. Inhale through the nose for a count of 3. Smooth, soft exhalation for a count of 6. Visualize stress just leaving the body. Relax the face. Just tune in to yourself. And just take one more breath in that way. Exhale, really visualize stress leaving the body. So it's just one way, one thing that we can do to just help ourselves. So I really feel, I hope that you have found this helpful. If you have, leave me a message below. Let me know how you get on. And I also would just like to say, if you visit my website, flowwithgrace.ie, and if you sign up for my newsletter, I'm going to be sharing with you lots of helpful information on how you can look after yourself and how you can reduce stress. If you sign up to my newsletter, you will receive 3 free gifts from me. So there's a yoga class, there's a guided meditation, there's some breath work in there. These are my gifts to you, and you will receive, regularly information from me. So thank you very much. If there's any other questions, maybe you might pop them below. If there isn't, then I'm going to leave that there for today. So I think that might be it for today. So thank you very much for joining me. And I'll be on again next time with a different subject next week at the same time. Okay, bye-bye for now.